Basketball Breaks, make sure you check it out.
Basketball Breaks.
Basketballbreaks.com. Keep it locked.
Live and direct, once again, Basketball Breaks podcast. What's going on, B-Ballers? This time we've got Julian.
Yo, what's up?
Jan.
What's up?
And myself, AC, a.k.a. The Architect, a.k.a. AC without the Slater. My people who know about Saved by the Bell will know about that talk there. A.k.a. Uncle Ace. Yeah, so let's go. What are we going to get into today, Julian?
We want to pay a little bit of attention to a couple of teams that we haven't given a lot of airtime to over the last few weeks, although we had one of them on our radar big time before the season started in our preseason podcast. I want to talk about the Thunder because, like people were saying last week, I'm going all up on my stats and talking about Kyrie and loads of other dudes. But when it comes to the Thunder, there's only really one stat that matters, and that's that when we did our preseason podcast, we thought they were going to be maybe the fourth seed in the West. And they're fourth in their division. They're 7-9, two really bad losses to New Orleans, who's the other team we want to talk about a little bit later, and to the Spurs as well. And that's the Spurs without Kawhi Leonard. So two teams that really we thought a team like the Thunder should be able to beat quite easily. Sure enough, they went up and looked good against them and then got destroyed on comebacks by New Orleans and the Spurs. I mean, we expect this is a team with two top 20 players, right? With Russell, reigning MVP, and Paul George, who's a do-it-all three, and then Melo as well. But I don't know where he goes on your top whatever list. I don't know if he's even top 30 anymore. But yeah, I mean, they're 7-9 when they should be what? They should be at least a. There's no excuse for them not to be a 500 team, right? Even though it's getting to know each other sort of stuff. I mean, compare it to Boston. They returned only 4 players from last year's roster, and they just won on a 16-game winning streak. And the Thunder have got Russell Westbrook, and I mean he himself won 40 games last year, and they've won 7 and lost 9. I mean, just looking down their sheet, they lost to the Spurs, the Pelicans, the Nuggets, the Kings, Blazers. There's the Celtics on the list, the T-Wolves again, and the Jazz. Now, there's a lot of teams like this you think they should be beating, and I mean, yeah, they're beating the Mavs, the Bulls, the Clippers, the Pacers. Yeah, you'd expect those wins, those sort of knockoff teams. But I am really shocked that this team isn't better. I thought they had the pieces. But, I mean, maybe we want to talk a little bit about Russell Westbrook in a moment, about what he's like as a dude to play with. But what do you guys think about this team? I mean, you're as surprised as I am.
Yeah, I am surprised. I think they will get it together, but it's just really weird with OKC at the moment, because if you were to take their games up to, say, the third quarter, then they would be where we think they're supposed to be. They're just having major problems in the fourth, and it's crazy. They're just breaking down in the fourth quarter. I mean, I've watched a few of their games, and they've been playing very well. It's been like, oh, okay, this is, top 3 type play. And then just that fourth quarter, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. It might be the lack of a system, per se. Like you were mentioning the Celtics, that they've had a lot of personnel changes, etc., but they have a system. So people just slot in. They've got Brad Stevens, which we spoke about last week. It's much easier to kind of do your role when you have that. And I think they have no idea who is supposed to play what role. So as much as the pieces are nice, obviously you've got, the big 3, as they call them, and then even the other pieces, Adams, Alex Abrines, that's all nice, but I think that little trio of PG-13, Melo, and Westbrook still need to sort out who is who's going to do what. And I think Russ in particular really needs to step forward. I don't know if it's sort of like a reaction to how he has been cast in the media as somebody even if he has high assists, people still cast him as this player who's like, okay, yeah, but he just wants to take over and become a monster, and he don't want to pass and blah blah blah. So he's taken a bit of a step back. So that's interesting. He is difficult to play with, it seems, much like some other players who are great, like LeBron. You have to adapt, but I think he needs to really take over. Watching OKC against the Pelicans later down in the game, Russ was just not. Think about it. This is Russell Westbrook. The guy was not driving to the hoop. What are you doing? You're Russell Westbrook. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, because nobody's stopping you, and worst case scenario, you're going to get fouled. And even if
that's the thing. Like he got an elbow from Boogie Cousins, and there's a lot of lesser players who would think, oh, I don't want to get hit again this game. But Russell Westbrook is not that kind of guy. He should be a freight train, north to south, get the rebound and go kind of player. I mean, he's leading his team in rebounds.
Yeah.
So he should be getting them off the glass and hammering down the floor. And he hasn't had a signature. Like last season and the season before that, there were signature dunks, right? There's like Russell Westbrook coast to coast, guy on his hip, blow him off, two-hand tomahawk through traffic. And I haven't seen one of those yet. And I've been following these games. And I don't know what it is, man. I mean, we're talking about the role, but I mean, I heard something interesting about comparing this team to the old team that made it to the finals when it was Harden, KD, and Westbrook. And I do think they're probably misusing their roster. It's not the deepest bench in the world, but I think they're probably misusing Carmelo. And the thing is that Melo is the oldest of the three superstars, one less shot a game than the other two. And something doesn't seem right about that. I wonder if you went back to that Harden, KD, Westbrook team, I want to see that sort of what that distribution was like. So I feel it should be more like that, where basically what I'm saying is Melo should come off the bench. He should come off the bench. Like,
I agree. I agree with that. Carmelo should come off the bench at least right now, because right now, to me, as Aaron said, Westbrook is the problem because he is not playing his game he played last year. Obviously, he has support now, but if it does not work out, why isn't he taking over? Because he wants to win games, and Carmelo is not playing good in my opinion, and he should really just take a step back and sit on the bench for a couple games, and then we will see if that works out. But it reminds me of one of our talks before the season when we spoke about Carmelo Anthony. And I think we three said, okay, Carmelo is a great player. And Kevin said, okay, he's shit right now. He's not in the best. And if Kevin is listening right now, he will say, I told you. And right now I see what Kevin said, because in that system of the Thunders, Carmelo is not fitting in, and he should come from the bench for sure.
I think if he's coming from the bench, and he's not going to be the main ball handler. He's not going to be like James Harden running point guard for the bench unit. But there's no reason because right now, I mean, Russell plays from the top of the floor, PG from either wing, and Melo is meant to stand on the opposite side. Like his best position, and the place he's played for his entire career is sort of mid-post extended and from the elbows. And I mean, why isn't he? Doesn't it make more sense to have Patrick Patterson start or Jeremy Grant start at the 4 spot instead of Carmelo? And then have Melo running with the bench unit, which includes Raymond Felton, Alex Abrinas. Like Jeremy Grant plays some center because he's got that sort of hops. And Carl, there's players there who he is unquestionably the guy who should be getting the ball on every possession when he's with the bench unit, and he will just be able to stand there in the middle of the floor, catch it, and do what he likes with it. And I mean, I don't want him taking 17 shots a game like he's doing. He should be taking 14, but there'll be the shots he wants to take coming in his rhythm, and he'll probably end up getting to the foul line more that way. He won't just be a catch and shoot player. He'll be able to actually work as much as he is no longer a superstar, and he hasn't been for a few years. And he shouldn't have been an all-star last year. I mean, that should have gone to Bradley Beal, but let bygones be bygones. The season's over. Like, he is still a really talented player who can do a lot for his team, and the Thunder did a really good job getting him for not a lot. And we can talk about some of the pieces that moved, but it just makes so much more sense. Like, also coming from having a little bit of a coaching back on myself, why just the roster itself and it makes so much more sense to have him come off the bench. He's not going to win Sixth Man of the Year, but he's going to. It's not as though he's not going to play with Russell. He'll still close games. So I don't know. I put it down to bad coaching. Like we made that comparison to the Celtics. There's no comparing Brad Stevens to Billy Donovan. Like both came from not that long ago from college, and Brad Stevens is just in a class of his own. And Billy Donovan is not that different from Scott Brooks, who was a big problem a couple of years ago for the Thunder, and that's why he was scapegoated. But yeah, I'm a little bit dismayed by it all. And just knowing that things can be fixed relatively easily. Of course, we say that. I think Melo's ego means he won't ever come off the bench in his career, ever.
Yeah, I think it's the problem with Melo for sure that he does not want to come from the bench, but it's surprising to me that it is not working out that good because Melo is like how many years in the league? He went to two teams or like from Denver to the Knicks and everything, so he should know how to adapt to a new environment and everything. But maybe its ego does not want to adapt, so he's just his ego is too big, and that's usually makes an unsuccessful team when one ego is too big.
No, definitely. I think it was Charles Barkley who was saying this a couple of weeks ago, but every team, there's going to be egos. Like you have superstar players, there are going to be egos. And even when the Heatles got together, the first year they were still feeling each other out, and it was still sort of D Wade's team, and then LeBron took over after that, and everything was fine. And it was unquestionably LeBron's team in the season after they lost to Dallas. Right now, it feels like they're all just trying to be a bit too polite with each other. Like all trying to share the shots equally. When you know what, Russell Westbrook is the best player on that team, should be taking the most shots, should be dominating the ball. Paul George should be doing everything. Paul George should be Scottie Pippen, and Carmelo should be who's a third ball, like Tony Kukoc. He should be Tony Kukoc. Like that's the sort of dynamic they should be having. And unquestionably, Russell Westbrook needs to put his stamp on this team. On Westbrook briefly, or maybe not so briefly. I'll see what you have to say about it, AC. Let's talk about some of the pieces that moved away from the Thunder and got them Paul George and Carmelo. Victor Oladipo, Sabonis, Doug McDermott, and Enes Kanter. None of them looked that good last year next to Westbrook, right? So, yeah, not really. Not playing up to their potential, we thought. Why do they all look better without him now? That's what I want to know. Oladipo's having one of those could be most improved seasons. Enes Kanter actually looks like a viable center next to Kristaps Porzingis. Why does Kristaps Porzingis make Enes Kanter look better than a point guard makes Enes Kanter look good? Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
go.
Yeah, let me address that. Okay, so first of all, VO. I wouldn't even put him for most improved. I think he just has more possessions. Even if you check him from a stats perspective, he just has more of the ball. His stats ain't super different. He's doing more of the same. And I've always liked VO anyway, but I just think he doesn't feel as inhibited by Westbrook. Now, like when he was with the Magic, he's in a very prominent role. So he's just doing what he does, so I like VO. As far as Enes Kanter now, I thought he was a good player in OKC. I don't see, now to be fair, I haven't watched a ton of Knicks games, but I don't see any great leap forward for him either. I just see that he's doing what he does. He's always been a very good player offensively. I'm not sure if he's actually doing anything on the defensive end these days, but yeah, I won't speak too much on Enes Kanter and how perhaps he's looking a lot better next to KP. But yeah, I know certain characters, it's the way, it's the person, as in Westbrook in this case, but it's also how people choose to react to that person and their personality. And I think some people tend to or shrink in the presence of anybody who's, super confident or, just at a high level, and then they just start watching the guy. And I think that was happening with Westbrook last season and the whole triple-double,
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
bonanza.
Enes Kanter and Steven Adams together were deferring Westbrook. Sorry, we'll box out, you get the rebound. That was pretty clear that was happening early in the season, right? But
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
On your point of the stats, even on the eye test, Victor Oladipo, all those 4 guys look better with their current teams, and I just find it a little bit weird. And it might.
I don't find it weird for VO. I think that I expect that. I think that would. When I saw him there, I thought, okay, yeah, you're kind of shrinking a bit. You don't look so good. But I expect that now because he is the guy. So, like I said, Ennis, perhaps, like I said, I haven't watched a ton of New York games, to be fair, to really be able to speak on him. But yeah, I just think it's that Westbrook factor. But what's happened now is that those guys, even as good as Victor Oladipo is, they're clearly not stars. Paul George and Melo, as sort of the elder statesman, if you like, they are clearly stars, and they have been. So the dynamic is all different. And I think there's a level of respect, perhaps for lack of a better word, but respect too, that Russ has for them, that I think is actually a little bit too exaggerated. Like you said, I think they're trying to be way too polite among each other, and it's easy when you're playing well. Like, for example, you might see them in practice, even early in the season, the first 3 quarters of most of their games, when things are going well and you're passing the ball, because their ball movement isn't even that bad in the first 2 or 3 quarters. They look decent. But when everything's moving like that and it's going well, that's fine. But when it's crunch time, that's when the reality of the situation actually comes forward. And the coach, as we spoke about before, is not impressing his will on them to say, you do this, you do that, Melo, you go chill over there until such a time. He's just not doing that. And that's where they have that lack of real direction and leadership.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Donovan hasn't impressed me at all. I mean, he's never been a great play caller anyway. But it's the stressful thing, because this team has pieces that should be translating into wins. If the state of those big losses and the losses against teams they should be beating weren't quite so heinous, I mean, they were like a possession here or there from being 10-6, not 7-9, right? And in that case, we wouldn't be that worried about it. But just the scale of those losses has to make me question whether Russell Westbrook can play with other good players. Like, to be effective, Russell Westbrook may just have to be on a crap team, right, and just dominate. I mean, like it was last year.
Yeah, but
unfortunately, I agree, because again, sorry, Jan, but it's a leadership thing. And thus far, Russ has not demonstrated that he is a good leader. He's a good number 1 option in a certain sense. Yeah, he's a superstar player, but a leader, the skills necessary to really do that well, you don't see it. And that's why he will bump heads with people, or he will try to defer too much because he doesn't understand that proper leadership dynamic. And if everyone around you is clearly levels and levels beneath you, then it's easy to just do your thing. But now, like I said, in crunch time, in the trenches, that's when big things come to light,
I think we have to give them a few more games, because we want to talk about the Pelicans as well. And right now, like in February, Boogie went to New Orleans, and now they're playing quite good, or at least as they should play. They're both getting rebounds and both getting points. And last week we spoke about the Cavs, and now the Cavs are on 4th seed again, and so it's always like in 1 week and 2 weeks can happen a lot when the things fall align and everything works out a bit better. But obviously they should be better, and it's crazy that they are not better right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, they have the pieces to be better than they are. And yeah, it is. They were not even a 1/6 of the way through the season. But there are factors here which they need to resolve quickly, because it's a question of building good habits, and they haven't started doing that yet, it seems. Like, even with the Cavs, they might have won a couple of games, but let's not pretend that's anything but LeBron James just willing them to victories. I'm not convinced. And it's not even that the Celtics have been on a massive winning streak. It's just the Cavs do not look like a championship caliber team at the moment. LeBron James looks like a championship caliber player, definitely, but I am not convinced by Cleveland at all. And I'd put it this way: I don't think the return of Isaiah Thomas and Tristan Thompson is going to be enough. They need to make a move. I don't know what it is. It might involve the Brooklyn pick, which is suddenly worth a lot more because D'Angelo Russell is going to be out for a while. So indefinitely, the reports seem to say. So that team plays hard, but I'm not exactly watching Brooklyn games thinking, I'm not putting money on Brooklyn to ever win games. But yeah, on New Orleans, they have I really didn't like them last season after they traded for Boogie. Boogie is a supreme talent. I didn't think he would work well next to Anthony Davis. They have no business running this sort of Twin Towers offense in the modern NBA, right? What kind of praise do you want to give Anthony Davis and Boogie Cousins? Are they both top 15 caliber players? Are they both top 20? Definitely top 20, I'd say. Maybe if you're a Boogie fan, top 10 perhaps. But what do you guys? What's your take on Anthony Davis? I remember watching him play. Yeah, he was drafted in 2012, right? I think I remember he was playing in exhibition games in Manchester here with the USA team against GB before the London Olympics, where he didn't get a lot of run, but that was the time where I remember vividly sitting in like nosebleed seats in Manchester watching Russell Westbrook toss alley-oops to Anthony Davis. And at that time, I was super excited. I look at this lanky guy, he can run like nobody's business. He's got a little bit of a jump shot, he can defend, he used to play point guard as a kid, and now he's a center because he just grew big. But I can come back to what I really think about Anthony Davis, but what's your opinion?
It's just funny to me. I could come back to what I really think about Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis, I think he's a really, really, really good player. Not just to take a really mad small sample size or be a victim of the moment, but having just seen that game that the Pelicans won against OKC, he was a major factor in that. In terms of skill set, he is in an elite class in terms of skill set. I think it's his application that raises some, question marks on how good really is he when you're comparing him to the very greatest players in the league. Your LeBrons, your KDs, etc. But in terms of skill set, he's dangerous. I like Anthony Davis, so I'm interested to hear what this damning verdict is. That's sure to come. But I think he's really good. In terms of the whole Twin Towers thing, I was dubious about that. I still am a bit, but they have seemed to be able to pull something together with that. I think Drew Holiday's a massive part of that. They need more shooting, but I don't see that working long term. I don't see that. I never did, and I don't see that working long term. But fair dues. They're doing their thing. They're getting in. They are quite a matchup problem on the interior, and obviously pulling back out to the 3-point line, which both of them can do. So from that standpoint and versatility, OKC. New Orleans have something there, but I don't think they can keep it. No, I think it's just something for us to watch. It's entertainment, quite frankly.
Yeah. Okay. Here's my thing with Anthony Davis. If he's a top 7 talent, like talent, right? Top 7, people will argue. Why hasn't he won more playoff games? And is it just because he's always been injured? Is it because his supporting cast has always sucked? Is it because, what is it? If you think about the top few players, sure, they get lucky, they have good teammates. But is it luck? Is LeBron James lucky that he played with phenomenal talent? Or is it because, LeBron's the exception. No one can, I'm going to take LeBron out of it.
I was just about to say to you, take LeBron completely out of it. He is definitely an outlier. He is the exception of exceptions. So forget LeBron, because LeBron, as we know, already is a GM, a coach, a player, everything in between.
He's not a good GM. He's not. We've learned he's a terrible GM.
Indeed. But, just forget LeBron. But I think the reason why Anthony Davis has not won more games is a combination of those factors. Number one, the injury thing That's quite major. We haven't been.
That's a part about being a great player. It's being able to stay healthy, right? I mean, as much as I like Bill Walton, I'm not going to argue that he's one of the best centers of all time because he played how many healthy seasons? Like there are 10 dudes on the list ahead of Bill Walton easily, and Anthony Davis might we've been through less than 15 games, right? Not even 20 games this season. Anthony Davis already had a bit of an injury. Like it was like, oh, everyone remember this guy can't stay on the floor. Great players, one way or another, it doesn't have to be because they're great assist men or great playmakers. They make other players around them better, and Anthony Davis ostensibly doesn't do that. I don't know what it is. I can't trust an Anthony Davis-led team, and he might have to. But it doesn't matter because we're talking about New Orleans and him. But he can't stay in New Orleans super long term. He won't play his entire career there. Why would you want to? And they'll probably trade Boogie for something. I mean, I think they should. The team that everyone's got on their lips is Washington, but I want to see that. I really want to see that because that team, Washington team, is a little bit disappointed right now. But with Boogie, they could be a real threat to the Cavs and the Celtics.
The issue with that is keeping Bradley Beal as well. I want to see that with Bradley Beal and John Wall. I don't want to see it with Bradley Beal gone as much. I want to see what they have with Boogie. But, it's going to be kind of technical trying to pull that off.
How about, you lose Bradley Beal, but you keep Otto Porter. You keep Otto Porter and Kelly Oubre Jr. Next to John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Marcus Morris. So is it Marcus or Marquise they've got? Whichever Morris twin. And then, because it's either you ship Bradley Beal and Marcin Gortat, let's say, to New Orleans for DeMarcus Cousins. That you can do that straight up. But if you want to keep Bradley Beal, then you have to give 3, maybe 4 players, 3 players and a pick to get DeMarcus.
And decimate your whole team, basically.
Yeah. But, pull the Carmelo and trade away a starting lineup for a player that's untested in real competition. Yeah. I think it's great times, but maybe Cleveland gets into the act. I don't know if Isaiah Thomas and DeMarcus can never play together, but that Brooklyn pick, like we said, is looking pretty good. You can send that to New Orleans for DeMarcus and move a couple of other pieces as well. Maybe Jay Crowder finds a new home because he hasn't looked that good in Cleveland. But
that would be crazy. just from a pure entertainment aspect, I'd love to see that. But funny enough, as the word just came out of my mouth, Love, Kevin Love, how that would work with him there as well. I mean, they would be stacked, but boy, that's kind of crazy. They'd have to pull him back from the position he's in now and put him back to his natural position at the 4. Boy, I don't know.
Alternatively, it's the Brooklyn pick and Kevin Love for DeMarcus.
This is what I'm saying. They probably would have to move him. And, I mean, I wouldn't have a massive
I would do that if I was New Orleans. I would do that in a heartbeat. Okay. Then Anthony Davis can go play 5 again. I know DeMarcus has been shooting a lot of threes and making them, but I mean, he's making them, but then you're giving up offense. That's an incredible offensive rebounding force, right? And if he's not in there, then you're losing one of the great assets of a big man. It's not like DeMarcus is breaking down guys off the dribble from the perimeter. Yeah, Kevin Love. Yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's call someone like Kevin Love, the Brooklyn pick for DeMarcus Cousins. We'll sort of that right now. And it'll help both teams instantly.
Well, I mean, December 15th, everything's all live again. People start trading. So who knows? Cleveland, as you said, they may have to make a movement. It's about that time they might be getting an early Christmas present in the shape of Boogie. But the thing is now, as you're talking about him, Boogie, do you want all of that DeMarcus Cousins baggage, all of that?
Yeah, I'll take it.
You want it? Yeah. You good? Yeah.
He's been fine this year so far. Apart from that one elbow, even that was like a little elbow. That wasn't like a Meta World piece, the James Harden elbow. That was just a whatever. That was a love tap.
And maybe the Cleveland Cavaliers would need something like that as well. Like LeBron James is playing on his own more or less, and somebody who is doing crazy stuff as well, like So that LeBron is not on his own with this crazy stuff.
But the thing is, with the Boogie sort of baggage and everything that comes with him, it's not even him per se at this point in time. This is the problem. He has been okay. It's not him. It's his reputation and what follows him from all his past transgressions, which I don't see referees easing up on that at all.
No, they never will. They never will.
That's the only thing. I mean, but yeah, again, entertainment-wise, I'd love to see that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, quite apart from the entertainment, I mean, Cleveland could do with another distraction if they continue to suck. There's one more thing to talk about. That isn't their record, and just having a look at Basketball Reference stats on DeMarcus, 26, 13, and 5. Like, I'll take that. I don't know what his contract's like, but if LeBron James is not in Cleveland long term, like, I'll happily have DeMarcus Cousins as a building block in the East. He's still young. I mean, even after this season, you could see the Cleveland. Like, we talked previously about that Kyrie Irving trade, which looks more and more stupid. It's every week, every game, it looks utterly stupid. But they did at least set themselves up all right for next year if LeBron James books it, because then they'll still have Isaiah Thomas, they'll have Jay Crowder. Yeah, I mean, they've got some pieces, and the Brooklyn pick, if they don't move it, they can do what they like with it. And I mean, I'm not one really to research college players or the rookie draft class until June. So, but yeah, just little bits of reportage here and there say that the draft class is going to be pretty decent again. So I don't know, Cleveland is in a weirdly enough, in spite of their record, a pretty okay position.
I agree. I don't think it's all, catastrophe and Titanic stuff like people have been kind of reported. Now, for me, when it comes to Cleveland, I always view it in two kind of bubbles. One bubble is general, in the league, in the East, going forward, without LeBron potentially, general. And then there's the finals. Should they get there, they probably will, against the Warriors. Now, in that scenario, there's nothing they can do. As things stand, that's a wrap as far as I'm concerned.
That's not a 5-game series. That's 4 games right now, it looks like.
Exactly. But outside of that, I think Cleveland are fine. Like you said, I think they're pretty well set up based on the position that they have been put in by LeBron with his continuous 1-year contract thing and Kyrie wanting out. I think they've made the best of a bad bunch, or they've made lemonade from lemons. So
yeah, it's an interesting time to be a Cleveland fan, because how if you're a Cleveland fan and you've already had to go through LeBron leaving once, are you just happy to have the one championship? I mean, you should be, because no one really want to. Thank goodness that LeBron James was born in Ohio, because there's no reason he would have gone back otherwise. I don't know really much about the Northwest of the United States, the Northeast, the North, wherever the world Cleveland is. I couldn't even point it on a map. I got no idea. And
well, would anyone care if LeBron wasn't there? Come on now. We spoke about that before when we was talking about a good 3-4 weeks ago. Wally Zerbiak. people are that ilk. I mean, really, if LeBron was not there, we would not really know who you are. And quite frankly, for Cleveland, as far as basketball is concerned at least, it's the same thing. So I think they should just be grateful, take your one championship, 50 odd years and whatnot. What more can you say?
I was saying they can still have a wonderful talent in someone like Isaiah Thomas. He'll stay if they pay him. They just will. Because he's intimated more than once before that he wants to get paid. And he probably deserves it. So I don't know, not max, but I would hold him down for 3 or 4 seasons on. I mean, the amount of money that point guards like him get paid. He could be averaging 30 points a game. He's probably the best scoring little man since Allen Iverson, right? Except he's more efficient than Allen Iverson in every way. Against, admittedly, the defense is probably a little bit harsher to Iverson than they ever were to IT. But yeah, I mean, he deserves to get paid a lot of money, and Cleveland should be willing to pay it because there are other key pieces. There's there's no one that's going to get paid a load of money. I don't know what's going to happen with Kevin Love. He clearly doesn't look right with that team. I mean, I remember, was it last season or the season before that everyone was taking like happy snap Instagram pictures of the Cavs, and for some reason Kevin Love was in none of the photos. And then like there was a big joke about there was finally one with him in it, and he even tweeted about it, Instagrammed it. It's like, oh look, I finally made it, guys. And yeah, I don't know what it is. Kevin Love is still a really great player. It's really annoying because it's sort of like Carmelo Anthony, where good stats overall don't tell the whole story, and maybe they need to be the first option to. Because even this year, when Kevin Love should be stepping up to be the unquestioned second option, for some reason, LeBron James still, you look around, you're watching them play, LeBron James is looking to J.R. Smith to be the release valve on a lot of shots and not Kevin Love. And I don't know. I want Kevin Love to be happy. I want LeBron James to move to LA. Because, I mean, last night, we briefly talk about last night's game. The only game that was played was the Bulls Lakers. And they won. The Lakers won. Lonzo had 14 rebounds, 16 rebounds. Here's my thing on Lonzo. He could be Rajon Rondo. That might be his ceiling. I don't know. People were comparing him to Jason Kidd. Stupid people were comparing him to Magic Johnson as though that were ever going to be possible. There is never going to be another Magic Johnson. There'll never be another Michael Jordan. There'll never be another LeBron James after he retires. But Lonzo Ball could maybe be Rajon Rondo, a guy who can't shoot, not super athletic, but gets a lot of rebounds, good assist man, and makes an open shot every now and then with defensive sag off him. But I don't know, did you guys catch any of the highlights from last night? I mean, you should have. It was the only game. So no excuses really, especially you, AC. Like, what are you doing? You actually work basketball. We've got real lives to deal with as well. Like, we still find the time.
Oh, you're throwing at me? Actually, I did not watch last night's game because the teams that were playing last night are trash. So I was not interested. And I was up.
But one of those trash teams is Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, I hear that. But the night before, I was watching all the games, waiting till the morning, and I got to prep. So yes, I do work in basketball, but I got to do stuff for that. So I was prepping for all this FIBA stuff. So no, I did not watch the sorry Lakers try and celebrate because they beat Chicago, who are basically trying to tank. No. And I'm not impressed with Lonzo getting any kind of stat line that makes him look like, oh, triple-double. I'm not impressed at this point in time. Do that against good teams with good point guards, and then we might have something to talk about. Every time he's supposedly gone off, or it's like, yeah, oh, he's not so bad after all, because it seems to change game by game. He's playing trash, like, oh, Phoenix Suns. Really though. You know what I'm saying? No one cares about that. Phoenix Suns, I don't want to hear nothing about the Phoenix Suns or the Chicago Bulls or the Brooklyn Nets. Oh, he had 50. Good. I don't care. I just want you to play against proper teams, and then, you know, other than that, just do your thing. He seems to be better since he got a trim, though. I'll tell you that much.
But that's, again, the thing because of his father, right? If he would be just another rookie, we would not talk about him. No? And now, just because of his father and his marketing and everything, we are talking about him and about that he's crap. But yeah, I feel a bit sorry for him, because I don't know him. Like, everybody knows his father, right? But I haven't watched an interview from Lonzo, I think, in all my life, and I never heard him talking or something like that. I can't remember. And
I know he's trying to get the Kawhi Leonard award.
Yeah, man, for sure.
For a couple of years, just like, oh, what does Kawhi Leonard's voice actually sound like? Because we had no idea.
Good question, yeah.
And Lonzo's trying to get that award right now.
Yeah, we wanted to know what Kawhi Leonard was saying because they were winning games. Like, Lonzo Ball, so what did your brother do? Like, that's the entire shtick with him. And I mean, yeah, he's not even the best rookie on his team. Kyle Kuzma is top 5 rookie this year, and it's a good crop. I mean, if you took Ben Simmons out of it, Kyle Kuzma would be in the running for rookie of the year, right? Him and Jason Tatum probably, who's also playing phenomenally for those winning Celtics. And it's a shame that none of us And I feel as well like none of us are really big Celtics fans, so we get super hyped about this. But at the same time, it's also probably a good thing, so we're not just talking about them every single week. But yeah, I mean, having covered the Thunder and New Orleans, two teams that we haven't really talked about too much. I mean, next we will have to pick another team or two that we haven't really touched upon before that much. Don't know who that's going to be yet. I mean, maybe we'll go east, talk about the Wizards, watch some Wizards game this week. John Wall, he never seems to start seasons well. He always comes to the training camp a little bit fat. I don't know why, but yeah. I mean, I'm still angling for that Boogie trade. I'd rather they go to the Wizards than to the Cavs. If I can get my way. If I was commissioner, I wouldn't allow it otherwise. Sure. I'd veto that. I'd pull the old CP3 rule. It's like, no, you can't go to the Lakers. You'd be too good.
No doubt. CP3. Talk about CP3. Clippers. Oh my days. What's going on there?
What happened? Like first couple of weeks was like, oh, Blake Griffin. He's a dark horse for MVP.
Yeah, but
now what? They've lost 6 games in a row more.
Yeah, but Beverly and Teodosic injured, so
yeah,
obviously Blake Griffin isn't looking good as well. But two injured.
That's a real shame. Like Blake Griffin hasn't quite figured it out. Like I said, Teodosic is out, Beverly's out, Austin Rivers is still playing.
he should be out injured, but yeah.
Oh my days. LeBron gave Austin that work though. Oh, that was crazy. If you know when they made the Clippers, Austin Rivers got that work. That was crazy. He had him dancing on ice and everything. He looked like Bambi or something. Like, it was weak. Seriously, he had him all over the guy. But yeah, the Clippers, yeah, they have a bit of a situation on their hands, but those injuries are impacting them. But I do think it's quite interesting that Patrick Beverley recently came out and kind of echoed what CP3 had been saying the whole time, that you guys you're not about winning. You're not intense enough. You're way too laid back, and your approach to the game is not coming from a winning mentality. And for him to not really be there that long and to have that observation does point to issues of culture that may well stem from the top down. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds throughout the season.
Like, how far up the top though? Do you mean is that Blake Griffin needs to step up and play harder? Does Patrick Beverley need to be more of a voice on the floor, be a floor general and set the tone? Or is this a call, let's fire Doc Rivers finally? Right. It's people have been saying it for a year or two.
Yeah.
Right.
To me, it's like Doc Rivers has to show something, right? Because right now, again, he has the pieces changed, but he's like a lot of years there now, and more or less with the good players, nothing happened. And
yes,
and he should have done more with the best point guard of this generation. Yeah. One of the most athletic power forwards and the perfect center to play beside both of them. I know the West is wild, but yeah.
And we see Brad Stevens with the Celtics, and right now it's just Kyrie playing, Horford, okay, but that's another thing. And as well, like the Celtics, last season until last 2-3 years, it is another thing. And I'm against firing a coach after a few games and everything, but Doc Rivers is there for a lot of years right now. And
yeah,
listen, man, Doc, I think it's that time. You know, seriously.
Time to go fishing. Yeah.
I think it's that time. I really think it's that time. Like I said, you don't want to call for anyone to lose their job, but you got to look at results. And I mean, right now in LA, there's a lot of malpractice suits. I'm telling you, the Doc is not doing the job, and he is starting to look mad overrated. And it's funny because who was it? I think it was Big Baby. Last season, Big Baby was like, obviously, he has issues with Doc personally, but Big Baby was just like, listen, man, this dude is mad overrated. And quite frankly, it was the personnel in Boston that made a lot of stuff happen. And now it is starting, I shouldn't even say starting, it's kind of been looking like that. He's had personnel. So, boy.
Yeah, I think that opens another discussion which we will have in the future. What a good coaches and what good players are, and
Indeed.
which is the relationship between that, right? Because then in Celtics, with the Celtics, you have 3 great players, and what amount of coaching is then there that is really making an impact or not, and vice versa right now. If you don't have good players and you are a good coach, you have a good team and you can win games. But
yeah, I look forward to that discussion, and that is, a discussion that's gone on for some while in terms of how much does the coach actually do. And I don't want to start getting into that now, but I think that's a fascinating discussion.
Yeah,
it's going to be a long discussion. Yeah,
like the starting point for that debate is Phil Jackson has 11 rings as a coach, 12 overall. How many would he have won without Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
yeah, the triangle's great. Yeah, they always ran that perfectly. They never just isolated Michael and Kobe. Definitely not. Maybe for next week. Let's not start that just yet, because we've been here for an hour, and that will be another 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think as well. That's a big topic, and we should take that for next week, or making an own show about trainers, coaches, and teams, or especially coaches and good players, and who is more important. And
yeah, no doubt. So we can get to that discussion maybe next week or the week after that, bringing it to another close. But we'll be back as we are every single week, always. All Breaks podcast. Adios.
Adios.
Basketballbreaks.com. Keep it locked.
For people who love basketball breaks to discuss